I would suggest as soon as they take the boat off the trailer, look at the depth in which they mark fish. You know, look, if you're fishing a reservoir like Lake Murray, for example, Lake Murray it stratifies, it's big enough and still enough to stratify. Chances are you're going to mark fish around the thermocline, so find that thermocline. If you're catfishing, you want to drag the bottom. If you mark the thermocline at say 50 feet, then find you some structure that is 50 feet and drag that depth.
Do you think you do better this time of year anchoring up, fishing?
It depends. If there's current, I'll anchor. If there's not any current, you're probably better off trolling. If there's current, the fish are active, there's a better chance of the fish coming to you. If there's not current, then I feel like you're better off. The fish aren't going to be moving as much and you're better off trolling and trying to bring the bait to them.
Going after catfish, what advice would you offer to someone starting out as far as do-it-yourself, maybe like bait attractants?
Bait attractants.
Different types of attractants, you know, for baits. I mean, you got some that you maybe blend together.
I feel like the best type of bait attractant is going to be chum. Chumming works. I don't think it works as well as a lot of people think it works. I think that especially if you're targeting, say, striper. Striper are constantly on the move. They're very nomadic. And a school of striper may come under your boat, but they're not going to stay there very long. You know, if you have some chum out, then it's going to make them stay there longer, but they're still not going to stay there indefinitely. They're still going to move. It may make that school stay under your boat for 30 seconds, a few minutes longer, but I don't think that it's just not worth it to me to chum. If you're fishing shallow water, you can really get some scent in that area, but I don't do a lot of chumming. I used to when I saltwater fished. I would take mesh laundry bags and I would always put chum out, but as far as reservoir fishing, I don't really chum. What you got over there, Scott? You got me a question?
Yeah, as a beginner angler, as myself, I was wondering, you're using some pretty big words in some of your responses here, but do you currently, or you have ever had a video on your YouTube channel about catfishing for dummies?
Catfishing for dummies. No, I don't have a video on my YouTube channel titled Catfishing for Dummies. It's pretty simple. Just put a chicken liver on there, cast it out, and wait. It's pretty easy. So even a dummy could do that. What else we got? You got another question for me there, Larry?
Being raised in Kings Mountain at a younger age, what major influences did the people in Kings Mountain have on your life?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Not a very good one. Yeah, not a very good one.
The man moved to South Gastonia to improve, so that's right.
Hey, South, my gosh, Gastonia. You got to put that in there.
Yeah, moving on.
Moving on, you're not going to incriminate yourself. Done that enough at Tony's Ice Cream.
Oh, Lord.
What else you got?
Well, what type of advice would you give to Keith Robinson on his YouTube channel, if you were asked?
My advice to Keith Robinson on his YouTube channel would be, keep doing what he's doing. Pretty much sums it up.
There you go. Good. People like helpful hints, be wise, and comedy.
Exactly.
Yep. He's got a routine and he's got a theme today. And what else do you say? Stick around. Yeah, and he's consistent, and his work is quality, his editing is quality, and just those three things right there.
Would you consider yourself an influential person to Keith Robinson?
Absolutely. I've probably the biggest reason he even started a YouTube channel, to be honest with you. Oh, I've influenced many YouTubers. I've influenced Dieter
Big
Melhorn.
upswing in the channel, big upswing in the quality. That was another thing, and I think New School Fishing for that. He and I have talked a lot, and y'all check his channel out too. He's got a lot of good
Catfish
stuff.
Dave, and countless others locally. That's a fact, Jack.
Fact, Jack. Well,
Any other fishing questions? Let's just get technical. Don't be afraid to ask any technical questions.
how do we get our chicken liver to stay on the damn hook? I sling it, it flies off in a different direction.
Now, you know, I would prefer the questions be more toward real fishing. I feel like fishing with grocery store baits isn't real fishing, but I will give you this. I don't know this from experience, but I've been told that if you leave the chicken livers out in the sun for several hours, that it'll kind of dry them up and harden them and make them stay on your hook better.
Maybe even dehydrate some chicken liver. What about that, man?
Now, well, you know, they're not going to have that scent like they would.
You
But
could inject.
they're not going to be as bloody, and you know, my advice is to learn how to catch you some bait. You know, the catfish aren't going to eat anything as well as they would a native bait fish that you catch from the water.
Your line weight.
20-pound mono will catch any fish in North America.
20-pound mono. I hear people talking about this 70 pounds and all this.
Well, that's braid. You know, naturally you're gonna have a larger stronger test pound braid than mono because of the diameter is so much smaller. For example, 50-pound braid is a 12-pound mono diameter. So, and when you're catfishing, you hook onto a 50+ pound catfish, it's going to put a lot of pressure on that spool. If you got anything smaller than 65-pound braid, it's going to make that braid dig into that spool, dig into itself. And you don't want that braid digging into itself because it's going to make your drag jerky. That's the last thing you want. You want there to be as little inertia as possible to get that drag going.
How do you tell people to set, talking about drag, how do you tell people how to set a drag properly on a rod?
The way I like to set my drag is there's a lot of ways you can do it. I like to just take my hook and hook it to something on my boat, whether it be a rod holder or whatever, and get that rod to bend. And when that rod gets into its backbone is when that drag should start to creep. If that drag starts to creep before you get into that rod's backbone, then that drag's too light. If you're well into the backbone and it still hasn't let out any drag, then your drag's too tight.
Just back off a little bit. Tighten up a little bit. Okay.
Any more?
What's your favorite setup for crappie fishing?
Favorite setup for crappie fishing? Well, I shoot docks, and when I say I shoot docks, what I mean is I don't literally grab the jig, although I can do that. But when I do that, when I'm technically shooting docks, I like to use a Zebco 33 style spin cast reel on a short rod. I like to grab that jig behind the barb, and I like to push that button, pull it back, and let it go. That's not how I typically crappie fish. I do what they call vertical jigging docks. And when I come up to a dock, I got a 500 size spinning reel on an ice rod with a 32nd ounce jig, soft plastic, single tail grub. And I'm either fishing straight down or I might cast it 10 feet or less. And I'm just jigging that soft plastic back up to me. You're gonna get about a full reel turn should take you around 6 seconds.